Well, Lincoln, they are still trying to figure that out, but you can just take a look at the damage here behind me to see just how extensive it was. We're told from firefighters that there was actually a smoke explosion here, and that ended up sending 2 firefighters to the hospital. If you take a look at this video, you're going to see that explosion as firefighters were getting close to the building and trying to put out the flames. A huge plume of smoke comes out of nowhere, and you can even hear breaking glass. The person filming was able to move to safety, and according to the fire department, thankfully no one else was injured in the fire. Those 2 firefighters only had minor injuries, but the flames quickly tore through the building and the 4 other businesses that were there. For owners like Evan Shilas, he's the owner of Really Good Stuff. This building was his second home. Next year would have been their 20th anniversary at this location, but now everything here is gone.
I'm in shock. I haven't really processed it yet. I mean, the store was my whole life, and I guess it's going to, I don't know what I'm going to do.
As owners try to figure out their next steps, the fire department is working to find out what caused this fire to start. Fire crews tell us that there were no evacuations because most of the nearby businesses were closed. We're here on Hawthorne and 13th, and this roadway is still closed. There's also workers that are starting to put up a fence around the building. We'll be following the story and providing any updates that we get. Deb and Steve, no, not yet, but while firefighters were fighting this fire, there was a smoke explosion, something we don't typically hear about. Now the fire is completely out, and this scene, has changed significantly since the last time we were out here. There's now a fire truck stationed here, but this area is still blocked off to cars. There's also now a fence up in order to keep people from going in, but these things did not keep people from coming out to the scene to share their favorite memories of the businesses here. In the very spot where some of the neighbors' favorite restaurants and furniture stores stood, a smoke explosion rips through the building. You can hear shattering glass as firefighters move to safety. 2 were injured in the explosion and sent to the hospital for minor injuries. This is the aftermath now. There is no roof, windows, or doors on Thai Touch, Really Good Stuff, Riyadh's Lebanese restaurant, or Lizard Lounge. But neighbors are still trying to remember the good times they had here.
Riyadh's was one of the first places that we went as a couple, and it was a very close part of our daily life.
Keith Powell lives a few blocks away from the fire. While he was a frequent customer at Riyadh's, he loved all the businesses and the people who worked in the building.
Wonderful, nice, lovely people, the kind of people you want in your neighborhood.
But now the places that called this building home need to figure out their next steps. Evan Shilas is the owner of Really Good Stuff. Next year would have been their 20th year at the location. But now?
I'm in shock. I haven't really processed it yet. I mean, the store was my whole life, and I guess it's going to, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Neighbors like Powell are hoping they can help these owners get back on their feet, a way to give back to places that gave so much to the community.
To think that they may not be back, well, that's a sad day.
Now, while this fire was absolutely massive, it thankfully did not spread to any other buildings. It stayed just with the 4 businesses that were here. So even though there are homes and other businesses nearby, we're told that no one else had to be evacuated today. Well, Catherine, before the fire was even out, people were reaching out to business owners, asking them what they could do to help them during this time. If you take a look, you can see that there is still a lot of cleanup. The businesses have been completely boarded up, and there is a fence around the building at this time. And so while owners are figuring out their next steps, they're getting some help from longtime customers and even complete strangers. The corner of Southeast Hawthorne and 13th Avenue is a shell of what it used to be after a fire and smoke explosion tore through the building Tuesday afternoon.
I guess you'd say it stuns you. It stuns a person to have that.
Nancy Chapin is part of the Hawthorne Boulevard Business Association. After seeing the damage left behind, she started a GoFundMe page for the owner of Riyadh's Lebanese restaurant, who lost everything in the fire. allowing people to give back to a business that gave customers more than just delicious food.
When I said, what do you want me to name it? Thanks for the memories. and he wrote back and said, that's perfect.
In just a few days, the GoFundMe page has brought in more than $8,000. While the page is off to a promising start, the fundraiser for the vintage store Really Good Stuff has already exceeded their goal.
The response was immediate and really overwhelming and gratifying. And the people of Portland are just amazing.
Evan Chalaise is the owner of Really Good Stuff. He's been in this location for decades. While the majority of the things in the store were his, a good portion belonged to other workers who shared the space.
They lost everything, and I was just beside myself, thinking, well, I felt responsible, even though it wasn't my fault, but they trusted me with their whole livelihoods, and suddenly it was gone.
The donations for their fundraiser will help those impacted recoup some of their losses while their next steps are taken. But for Chalaise, each dollar that comes in is more than just financial help.
It's nice to know that support is out there. I don't know when or how, but we're not done. We're down, but we're not out.
And while these fundraisers are showing the best of Portland and the best of the community, the owners have told us that they have actually gotten several reports about people looting here at the business. You can see now that there are boards up over all of the doors and windows, but we've been told that people have been getting in. It's a little frustrating for owners who say they haven't been able to see the whole scope of the damage just yet.